You know what it is. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Get established. Let's go.
This is the Get Established Show Live, where we all about awareness and support of our community, building within and beyond it. My name is Shine, and I'm here with my brother, Chiller, D. Jones. Please like, share, and subscribe, and smash that like button for upcoming shows. A link will be provided in the chat so you can join in the conversation or comment in the chat. All right. Disclaimer. The individual opinions expressed on here do not reflect the show as a whole and the goal of joining in and supporting our community. With that said, D. Jones.
What up, man?
You got it.
And my Terrence Howard voice. Man. What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Man?
Cool, man. Cool. You know.
What that weekend look like, man? I know. I had me a good laugh this weekend.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, the elder Mr. Jones. You want to elaborate on that? You know, because I'm gonna go.
You me? Since you're throwing me under the bus, I go ahead and then speak on it. You know, I guess our big laugh was Raymond had started something, and I chatted out, and you know, I was bored, so I tried to generate a cartoon character of each one of us. And you know, the hilarious thing about it, it just made Raymond look like he was so angry, but it did to me look exactly like Raymond. But everybody who's seen the picture, they liked the picture, but it's just like, why are you so angry? But it to me looked like a Raymond that, you know, just favor Raymond a whole lot. But it's just wild. That's
man. I promise you, I had a long week last week, and I was chilling, and when that picture came across my phone, man, I know I laughed for about an hour, man.
Oh, really?
No, it was funny, Raymond. I mean, you my man. You my brother, man. I mean,
y'all even got the push and producer laugh at that.
Yeah. Laughter is good
to me. I think the picture was a bit of a hot picture, and everybody. I would like if he would just show it. I would love for people to respond to see if they like the picture or not. If he did post it, if he is willing to post it, I would love for anybody who watching this video put thumbs up if you like that the picture, the cartoon picture.
If it come on my computer, I'll do it right now.
Oh my gosh! I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry.
I might show it. I might show it at the end of the show. Yeah, nigga. But
hey, it's all.
I'm glad I'm making y'all laugh. You know, even though I always say I'm not, you know, here for y'all entertainment. You know, not here. You know,
it's all good. Of course, man. We can jump right into the show, man. All right. Today's podcast: no death benefits, no legacy. In many Black communities, there are cultural, historical, and social and economic factors that have shaped perceptions and stereotypes around insurance. So today we'll be discussing insurance in the Black community. How about that? With that being said, let's jump right into it, fellas. What are the main reasons for having life insurance?
I get in that. One is to have your final expenses paid, you know what I mean, like for your funeral arrangements, you know, and you know, whatever benefits or things that you want to will to your kids or pass off to your kids. It's like, you know, your final you know, last acts that you're gonna do for you and your family.
Well, I'm gonna speak on it from a different perspective. Knowing a lot of people, and even with me, sometimes, from coming from streets and different people, it's just different strokes, different folk. We always had this perception, of insurance. And, my grandmama, everybody always got life insurance and always had insurance. And when you get a job, you're looking for to have insurance that can cover your medical and stuff like that. A lot of times when it comes to people, you ask somebody, do you have life insurance? The first thing, we always feel like we got enough time, especially when you in your 20s, 30s, 40s, you might start thinking a little different when you get married, or if you're in your 50s, as you get elevated older. So even in the 50s, a lot of people don't have life insurance. It's something like somebody come to me like, you need to get life insurance, and I'm 25. I ain't thinking about passing away no time soon. That's the logic in my mind. You don't know what's gonna happen, but speaking of life insurance, like you got a death sentence on you, life insurance. Then is you got to look at how much life insurance somebody can get from you if you got a decent premium life insurance. If somebody like, well, if he passed away, I can get 100,000, or I can get 200,000 or 500,000. Something like that can make something mysteriously happen to you. So it's like people look at life insurance to me different. I'm just going from a different perspective. But for burial, it's good to have a life insurance. You never know what could happen, and it's sad that a lot of people nowadays, you got to go GoFundMe because their family don't have the significant funds to bury them because the person didn't have life insurance, and a lot of us gamble like that on not having life insurance.
This is a great topic. I feel like it's a very good topic. This is something that I know in our generation wasn't discussed enough. Your parents prepared you for life as far as going to school, talk to you about securing a decent paying job, but there were minimal conversations about life insurance. Now, what's weird to me, if you think about the elders, all of them seem to have some form of insurance to cover their burial, and they would even insure their kids and grandkids. But it was never spoke about the importance of it to the younger generation. So I think, that's a missing piece. Now, don't get me wrong. When you work, your job talks about different insurances as far as health insurance, and they uh, provide a certain level of life insurance. But I don't think it's discussed enough. So I think this is a very good topic for us to talk about tonight. With that being said, let's move into the next question. Why do you think black people don't have life insurance?
I mean, it's a lot of reasons. I think one of the main reasons is, like Chris said, is that you're not thinking about your mind as a young person. You're not thinking about dying. You're not thinking about that part of life. All you think about is, hey, I'm living and I'm just trying to do whatever. If you're in a situation where you don't have the money, your thing is like, well, I'm just scrambling, trying to make it, pay bills, yada yada yada, with what little I have, and I don't have the money to be worried about that. And then there's another thing is like it's the fear in your mind when you think about death. It's like, well, dang, do I really want to think about what will happen to me? And like you don't think about that, not at certain stages in your life. Only when you start to get older, when you start really getting in your midlife years and your elder years, where you really start saying, yeah, I think it's time to start really getting focused on what am I going to have, or what am I going to leave for those that I love for.
I feel like a lot of times we misinform, like you say, the lack of not knowing, and then most people, when something happened to them, they don't participate on, especially in your 30s or 40s. you're not looking at, something tragic, or you're not prepared, or you need the insurance, that you're living a certain way that it could just, things just happen. And sometimes you're not looking for something to happen that can cause a situation that you wish you had life insurance for your family who's struggling and got to worry about burying you or find the cheapest ways of cremating or whatever. Insurance with people, even with health, some people can't afford it. They working chat to chat. Some Black people realize, I know I need it, but right now I can't afford it. I know I need it. I got to drop my car insurance. Oh, I know I need it. I need a house or rental insurance. Oh, I know I need it. But right now I got to flip this to make this. I got to feed. I got to try to get back to work. And sometimes they're not making the type of money that could cover everything. So if they get one strike, okay, I got a car insurance. Okay, I got rental insurance. Okay, I had to get my kids some medical insurance. Life insurance might be on the last on the list to even try to achieve, because you're looking at right now, I need to make sure this is this. And then they trying to put money away for something else that could happen in the process. So it's like, Black people, and it's still stipulations of not trusting America or trusting that they might not get what, because, everything in life to me is gamble, like insurance. I had insurance with one company that they told me, I told them I had high blood pressure at the time. And the crazy thing was, I went and got a new insurance, and they knew I had, high blood pressure, and I had to get a physical for a new doctor. The crazy thing was, when the bill came, and I told the doctor I ain't need that, but he's like, oh, no way, we got to do a physical. The insurance company like, well, we're not going to pay for that because we told you you had a pre-existing element, which was high blood pressure, which was at the time, and I had to pay the bill because my insurance didn't cover it. So it's like, if you are sick or you had a history of cancer, you had a history of something, and you got to change insurance companies, and now you got a new insurance company, it's not even guaranteed that it's a pre-existing element, and your cancer come back or your diabetes acting up, and then you go to the hospital for the situation. The way they try to make loopholes in some of these companies, they try not to pay it. So it's like, it's a bunch of speculation with Black people. Sometimes it makes it hard for them to even, and we just talking about medical. We're not even going on life, but we just talking about medical, that sometimes, like even the medical insurance, that they might not even cover it. So it's like you gambling anyway. In their perspective, I'm coming from my perspective, how sometimes I even look at certain situations.
I'm gonna apologize ahead of time because I'm about to step on some toes. I'm just gonna keep it 100. That's some BS for us not to have life insurance. It is some BS, and I'm gonna tell you why. If you know better, you do better, and at some point, you know better, Black people. If you go out to the club and you're buying bottles, you better have some damn life insurance. If you standing in line and you buying Jordans, you better have some damn life insurance. If you out here smoking marijuana with your folks, you better have some damn life insurance. I'm just saying.
If you own a corner with Bum Willie talking about, hey man, can you go in there and buy me about two cases of a beer,
you better have some life insurance.
Yeah. And he going there for you.
This the thing. You say you can't afford it, but I just named 4 or 5 ways that you can make it happen. It's a necessity. It's not a want. It's a necessity. Do you understand? We complain about how we can change our life, how we can change our circumstances. And we're not doing it. We're not taking advantage of some of these loopholes. We're not. We sitting back complaining, calling mama, trying to borrow a couple of $100. When something happened, scrambling, trying to figure out how we're going to bury daddy. We doing all these things. And you do realize the younger you get it, the cheaper it is. Let me say that again. The younger you get it, the cheaper it is. So I'm gonna say this.
Amen.
You figure out how to do everything else. People out here talking about they struggling, they don't have money for this, but you look down at their feet and they got a brand new pair of sneakers on. You look at their purse and they have a brand new designer purse. Might not have no money in it. You look around their neck and that Cuban link sure look good. You look at their earlobe, and it sure look like it's frozen.
$1,000.
You look at their skin and they sure tatted up. And they around here walking, catching the bus.
Woo.
No insurance. Staying at mama's house. But they living the life. All I'm saying is we need to wake up.
Laugh
Stop all these excuses. We making other stuff happen. We making it happen. But we need to handle business, black folks. We need to handle business. We don't need to put ourselves in a situation where we're a liability if something happens. We need to refocus and we need to rethink some of these things, and we need to take care of business. And this is a part of taking care of business. I remember when I was younger and I got my first life insurance policy. I didn't even realize what it was. I didn't understand why I was getting it. I just felt like I needed it based off of talking to my insurance company, my homeowners insurance company. They had a life insurance division, and it made sense. It just made sense, and then you start working and you start getting benefits and you opt into the life insurance through your job. It just made sense. Did I want to pay that extra bill? No. I'm a young man. I got a child. I got all these other bills. I ain't want to pay that. I didn't. I felt like I was getting ripped off. I did. I felt like I never used this. And then it came a time where I needed a little extra bread. And guess what? I thought about it. I got this policy I can borrow money off of. I ain't got to go to no financial institution. It's right here. I can make it happen right now.
All right, man. You get them too much right now. You get them too much at one time. You get them too much, man.
We got to get it together, man. I hope I ain't offend nobody. Get your smoke on, drink on, get your Jordans on, but get some damn life insurance. But anyway, what is the biggest misconception of having life insurance in a black household?
That you feel like you're gonna get ripped off by the man. That's what it is. You feel like you're gonna get ripped off. Yep. Yeah, I'm yanking out this policy. They just gonna drain me dry for every dime I got. And next thing you know, I ain't getting nothing in return.
Wow. But I feel like that with everything. I feel like that with the taxes they take out. I feel like that if I pay my car insurance for 10 years and I don't get in an accident, I feel like that on a lot of different things, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like some people been paying car insurance for 30, 40 years and they ain't got nothing fracking in return. I would definitely feel like that if I was at a church paying that pastor a lot of good tithe, and then I needed some help, and he turned. I don't even want to burn that up, but I said I would definitely feel like that if I was at a church, which I know a person who was giving up like $6 a month to that church, and then for 5 straight years they were busting them up all the way to $1,000, and then when they fell in hard time, we can't just get back out the money, sister, and all this. And y'all like, well, imagine if you had just put that money in your bank account and blessed somebody who really needed it in the streets or something. God would have blessed you.
Don't say that.
But you couldn't get it back tenfold because you gave it all away. So hey,
guess what? You could have took that money and got some life insurance.
Yeah, got some life insurance, but they couldn't even help you with that. But
all right,
but the thing, what I'm saying is, we gamble in life anyway. Ain't nothing guaranteed, but it's really hard for your family. When I'm saying this, because there's so many people nowadays that don't have life insurance, and you seeing GoFundMe, and they don't have the money to put away their family member because it was either poor decisions or you just felt like wasn't nothing gonna happen. Like ain't nothing guaranteed. Tomorrow's not promised. I wouldn't care if you got some form of insurance. I know I got insurance, but it's just that life insurance, you got to have some type of coverage because you don't want your family struggling. You don't want them struggling. You want some type of needs that we all, in reality, don't think you're going to live forever. We all got to pass away. So it's better to have your mind set now that, yo, when I get passed away, I want my coffin on. This is what I want to be buried in. I'm going to set mine up slowly but surely. So when it happens, my family ain't got to worry about that.
Let me break it down to you real quick. I don't mean to cut you off because I want to deal with this financial burden of life insurance.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you and Raymond a question. Can y'all right now, with what you have going on? No, forget right now. When you were 24 years old, could you afford to spend $1 a day?
Mm-hmm.
That's $7 a week, right? If you could have back then, if you could afford to spend $1 a day, you can afford life insurance. My first life insurance policy was like $27 a month. That was less than $1 a day.
Let me tell you how much mine was.
How much was yours?
Mine was $15.
Wow.
And let me add to that with a comment that Dion just said. It's sad because policies as low as $10 a month are out here.
Wow.
$10 a month for you to get a life insurance policy put on you or your kids.
That's correct. Yeah.
And we will get to the kids one because I think some people are so doggone ridiculous. They don't see it's no, I ain't gonna say it right now. I'll just wait till we get to that part.
Well, the misconception of having life insurance in the Black household, like Chris said, we are so paranoid as a people that we look at everything as a scam or somebody's trying to get over. Now, don't get me wrong. Insurance companies are out here to make money. Let's talk about that offer. If you look at auto insurance, a lot of times the companies are banking on you never having to use it. Okay, and it's all about them making money. But we're not talking about auto insurance. We're talking about life insurance. And if at some point, if you get life insurance, at some point in your life, there's going to be a need for that policy. You can guarantee that. Now, you can get auto insurance and you could pay that and never get in an accident. That could very well happen. And you can end up paying thousands of dollars to these auto insurance companies. But the fact of the matter is life insurance is not set up like that. At some point, that policy will be cashed in. Now, are they making interest off your money? Absolutely. You absolutely. But you don't have to look at it as a scam. And I would tell you to do your due diligence and find a policy that works for you, one that you can afford, one that fits your lifestyle, and one that you can actually take advantage of while you're living. We'll talk about that a little later. Do you view life insurance as a necessity or a luxury? I think I already answered that, but go ahead, fellas.
For me, I view it as a necessity. And I'm going to break it down because, when we had to bury my father, were we going to go around and pay the cost of have a funeral, burial, and all that stuff? For him, I think it costs between $12,000 and $15,000, and I don't. And I think it probably went up, since he passed away in 2018. So I know that it's probably went up substantially from that. So I know that I'm not a millionaire. I don't have no family members that are millionaires. You know, I got family members that are making good money, but I don't have family members that are millionaires. So, and even if you did, it's still having a policy is a necessity for that person so that they can have their final expenses taken care of. So that if you decide whether you're going to go through that process of having the whole, arrangements, or if you're going to just, if you say, hey, I'm going to, cremate them, cremate them and just, keep the policy for myself. If that's your choice, cool. But you have the option to do that, because some people, if you don't, then cremation will be that only option that you have. And, if whether you want to do it or not, it's something that you don't want to have to do. You want to have the choice to do, because you don't know if that person may have said my final wishes, or they might have told somebody, or they put it in a will, or whatever the case may be. They may say they don't want to go out that way. You know what I mean? It's a thing of having that choice, the option to.
Yeah, the average cost of a funeral in the United States ranges from $7,000 to $12,000. So these are things you need to think about. The average monthly cost of term life insurance policies are often cited as being around $26. This is based off of a 40-year-old buying a 20-year, $500,000 policy. So, I mean, that's what we're looking at, really. As far as the cremation, sign me up. I want to sit on my kids' countertop.
But look, even on that, like I said, I think it's a necessity of us getting that, because you got to look at it like this. And you talking about cremating, they said, back in the day was $1,000 or something in that nature. They said that and went up some more. I think somebody was saying it's up to probably about $2,000 to $2,400 now to be cremated.
That's cool. Sign me up. Sign me up. I want to.
Don't quote me on it, but saying things. Everything is going up, and you got to look at it like this: the way all these diseases is out here, and people are getting sick, and elements, and people just passing away left and right, younger than us, and we in our 50s right up here. It's people in their 40s just passing away quickly, 50, 60. Like I say, it's better to have something than not to have nothing. And
yeah, that's true. The average cost of cremation in the United States varies. So it can be from $2,000 to $7,000. So yeah, that's true.
Like I say, so it's like a lot of people always say, I want to get cremated. I want to get cremated. And the sad thing, they don't realize that, if you ain't got $2 or $3, $4 grand to get cremated, you're still in the same process as like you need money to get cremated. And if you ain't got nothing, it's hard to even get cremated. We talking about funerals, because funerals can for the casket, or for the pastor preaching, for this and that, getting in the church and going to the funeral home, this and that. All this is money. This is money. This is business. This is money. So
have a barbecue in the backyard and John Doe me.
You got to look at it like when we grew up, and before when we grew up, it wasn't funeral homes. The bodies used to stay right in the house overnight. And the funeral started from the house with them taking the body out of the house. The person would be laying in that casket right there with everybody coming to see in that person's house from that night to whatever, boom, to the next day. Everybody to that house to say their greetings that night and whatever, and the next day was the funeral. They took that body right out of their house. You don't see much of that going on today. Everything is somewhere else. So it's all about money.
I'm telling you, go get the grill fired up, have a celebration, and on the next day, call the coroner and tell them you don't know this individual. But they fell out of the backyard. Come get them.
I thought you were gonna talk about breaking some legs and arms.
No, brother, that's too much work. They'll call the coroner and be like, "Hey, somebody fell out in my backyard. Take all my
I know
identification
some.
off it.
I know
I
some
don't want to
city.
put too much stress on y'all."
I know some city workers that don't mind breaking some bones.
So you talking about when the dead animals out there in the street, man?
Come get them.
I'm saying they used to break the dead leg like before night.
I ain't gonna know the
Hey,
issue,
let's
man.
get. Hey, come on, man. Let's get it going, bro. I ain't got
man.
time for this.
We gonna celebrate. Just prop me up in the chair and celebrate all night.
But you got to realize you're gonna spend money because they dudes nowadays they sitting in the cars and there's a casket. They standing up like they're in the club. They got them buried in the sneakers and hat, sitting up like this and all that old wild. I mean, we don't when they come to funerals and they do got money, Ghetto Fabulous done took it to another whole level, man. They even they're had a jank in a strip club with girls lap dancing them dead now in this corner with a jank with money all in their hand. They be with hats on, they be going out crazy now. So it's like, even though the way they behind funerals now is ridiculous. But I mean, it's just like, my Sweet 16 or Pimp My Ride now is Pimp My funeral. It's another whole level with cats trying to outdo each other with how they can go out with their funeral. Some people take burn somebody to the stream. I mean, they're just doing it nowadays. You can see it all over everywhere.
It's
taking it to another extreme.
I don't really care about how they want to bury themselves or how ghetto fabulous or whatever they want to be. If they're taking the time to put some kind of effort into doing it, then that means that they're really looking at the fact that, hey, I need to invest in some form or way for my last and final wishes. At least they're doing that. No matter how crazy it go, as long as they doing something.
But to Chris's point, these funeral homes are doing the most, man. I know, and I'm not gonna name any. Here in Atlanta, there's several prominent mortuaries. They have the Bentleys, the Rolls Royces, the horse and carriage, the classic cars, and people are actually going into debt to bury their loved ones. It's almost like this homegoing has to be extravagant. They want their loved ones to go out with a bang, and the problem is, who is it benefiting spending all this money on a funeral? So they're actually going in debt. And if you think about it, that our elders, they paid for their funeral prior to them leaving this world. A lot of times the funeral was taken care of. They had things in place, not just insurance, but things in place to make sure that it wasn't a financial burden on the family. I think with us, and this comes to this next question, do you think that life insurance is a discomfort around discussing your mortality? I believe so. People don't like talking about their death, man. I mean, the thing is, you're not gonna live forever, I mean, and it's important, in my opinion, that some of these discussions are had. I was just talking to my mom not too long ago, and I don't think she was uncomfortable talking about it, but I was asking her questions because I needed to know. It's not something that I necessarily wanted to talk about, but we're getting older, man. She getting older, I'm getting older, and it's just certain things that I don't want to be scrambling around if something happens and not know what her wishes are, not know what certain information is, not know, what I need to do. Because the fact of the matter is, most of us have more days behind us than we have in front of us.
Yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, I think because I could say from my mother's perspective, she dreads funerals. She dreads the fact of having to go, worry about the, all those particulars, because when it came to her mother, my brothers, even my father, she just didn't want anything to do with it. It's some people don't like the fact that, and I know Chris has said this before too, I want to remember you as how you were when you were living, as the fact that you gone and all that other process. I don't want to deal with that, because that's just, and I get it. It's a hard thing to sit down and discuss somebody about that. I think it would be hard. It's hardest at an older age telling a younger person that, because even though that's they know that that's more of a possibility, it's like you are somebody, especially if they really care about you, they don't want it's like they don't want to actualize it. They know it's there, they know that it's something they have, but they don't want to actualize it within themselves. They would rather just happen and cope with it as best as they can in the process. With me, I guess through all the stages of knowing me, of life, without going through me seeing it at such an early age, I kind of, am used to the process. But when I don't care, regardless of what somebody that you care about, you gonna feel it regardless. But it's a conversation that should be had in our community, because in order for people to know what you want and to know what they have to do, or what they will need to do when your time is essential. It's essential for us for everybody that's living to know what the person that could potentially, they need to know that, so that they can be prepared, and you can feel assured that that person is going to follow your final wishes.
Well, in the Black community, we struggle with insurance, period. Like Chris said, we struggle with having car insurance, medical insurance. But this is my thing. When you talk about life insurance, there's a certain stigma on it. Like you said, people don't want to talk about it necessarily because of what surrounds it. But this is my thing. You don't feel that way about dental insurance, and people don't like getting their tooth pulled. I know the dentist is probably one of the one doctors nobody wants to go to, but people get dental insurance, and they talk about, that I need to get these braces and I need to get this. These are conversations we need to have about life insurance. It need to be the same thing. Just like dental insurance, we need to have a conversation. You need life insurance just like you need them damn braces. I'm serious. Because this is the thing. You can live and walk around and your teeth could be crooked, right? And that ain't gonna hurt your family because your teeth crooked. But it's gonna hurt your family if something happened to you and they got to figure out how to bury you or cremate you. That's gonna hurt them. But crooked teeth ain't never hurt nobody but you and your pride. So I say that to say, you need to have certain things in place. Now, this other thing, people will figure out how to get medical insurance. They will. It's some people, if they get a splinter, they're at the hospital. And I guarantee you ask them if they got life insurance. Well, I had to make a decision. Go ahead, sir.
I have a request from our producer. She wants to join the show.
Oh, make it happen.
Make it happen.
Make it happen. That's the first.
Mm-hmm. You ready?
She can turn the mic on if she ain't trying to be seen.
Turn your mic.
Yes, I'm ready.
There you go.
Hold on, let's see.
You can turn the mic on if you ain't trying to be
turn your mic.
Yes, I'm ready.
Somebody need to mute.
Yes, I'm ready. So another topic too, while you're talking about mortality and people being prepared for insurance, one of the biggest things that I feel like people don't take care of is beneficiaries. I don't think people realize when you don't list a beneficiary for your checking account, anything that has your name on it, especially like a checking account, savings account, those things get tied up in the court system. And most of whatever money you have in those accounts gets squandered in legal fees, court fees. It doesn't matter. It only takes a few minutes just to go in and list the beneficiary for all of your accounts. Because when you don't do that, we lose so much money, and people don't realize how much money they lose.
That's a good point.
Doing that.
That's a good point. I mean, because I got $30 in this account that I opened up, and I don't want no folks to get my money. I'm gonna be honest. I don't want no folks to get my $30. But go ahead.
Hey, you want them at least spend 25 of that because you know they're gonna the bank will already take their 5 for the services of it.
No, I'm just saying, man. My $30, man, in that savings account, man. Hey, it's important. It's important, man.
So it's important for people to take the time, make sure you list your beneficiaries on your checking account, savings account, 401k, even if you have life insurance with your job. Make sure you list a beneficiary there as well. Because when you don't, that you lose access to that money. Your family have to fight to get that money in courts. It can be tied up in court anywhere from 30 to 90 days and sometimes even longer before you even see a dollar of that money. So that's an important thing that people need to know.
So let me ask you a question, Miss Producer. Since you own the show, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think life insurance is too expensive?
No.
Non-essentials compared to rent, food, and childcare, compared to all that, do you think it's too expensive?
I don't think it's too expensive, but I also do think it depends on what type of insurance you're getting. Like if you're getting a term life insurance, that is the most popular insurance that people typically get. That insurance run very low. To Raymond's point and to Dion's point, can be as low as $26 a month. But when you're talking about whole life insurance, that's a different ball game because a whole life insurance policy allows you to borrow money against it and as a loan and to pay it back. So that is more of an investment as opposed to the term life insurance. Now that can be a little bit more. You're going to spend anywhere, depending on your health and your age. You could spend as much as $200 a month on it, but it's worth the investment because after 2 years, that money becomes an investment for you. That's another source of income for you, right? It's kind of similar to a savings account. You borrow against it, right? So that is the most popular insurance that most white people get is whole life insurance. They don't get a term life insurance because here's the thing with a term life. If you live out to be, let's say 95 years old, most term life insurance age out at probably 85, right? So then all your money is squandered that you put into that insurance up to 85. And then after that, then you have to go find another insurance that's going to cover you after that. So you got to do your research to kind of really understand the differences between the two. But it is worth the investment.
Preach.
See, I knew you were going to get up here.
She was innocent. Like, I'm fighting it. Oh, I gotta do it.
But go ahead, school us some more because I know you was real information on this information here.
So, like I said, I think so, and I can use an example. My grandfather was a retired police officer and a 911 operator, and he retired. He passed away with a really healthy bank account, right? The issue became he didn't list the beneficiary on any of his investments, none of his checking account. He had beneficiaries on his house, and then he had his policy. So the money for his investments, and he invested in stocks and real estate, all of those things got tied up in probate court. Because it was such a healthy amount, the family, I want to say the courts took at least $10,000 to $20,000 of that money because it had to get tied up in probate court. And it gets put on the docket with everything else. And then you have to get an attorney. So that's why I'm saying this. It is so extremely important for people to make sure, even if you got $30 in the bank account.
Hey, listen. Don't hate on my 30. I don't know why y'all tripping. I had to have a minimum of 25 in there. I got it. $5 over that. Okay. Don't hate on it. I've had that account.
Make it easier for your kids. One of the things that I do is I print all my documents out, and I make sure I put it in this place where I know my kids can get to it. They already know we've had this conversation. It's uncomfortable, true, but it's what they need to know, because you are equipping them with how to prepare and to make sure that they do these things for themselves. It's part of those lessons you teach your children, right? You teach them how to walk and how to become financially stable. Well, teach them about insurance. Teach them how to prepare for these things, right? You teach them everything else. This shouldn't be skipped in the process.
How about that? Great job, puss and producer.
I hear you.
Well, let me ask y'all this. Do y'all feel there is a historical mistrust of financial institutions due to systemic racism and past exploitation?
We always got the real road of everything. So even with the stipulations dealing with certain people who's white and you invest in your money, if you take it back to 1940s, 50s, it was a scenario. I think we were talking about. One of y'all was talking about somebody, what was in North Carolina, like the Black Wall Street or something, and they lost money. I think one of y'all could elaborate more on that one. But I think it is a fear of that what we put in, we're not going to get back. So and it's a mistrust with Black people dealing with certain situations like this and investing in something. So it's like some of us are well informed, educated, just like, and know the informations and moves and know about documentaries. And some of us who don't, not misinformed, don't have the knowledge of it. So it makes it kind of difficult. And some people don't got the patience to learn everything. And they don't have the people to help them to show them. So they just like give up and say, I ain't gonna worry about this. So we got different perceptions with different people. And I think you got to take time out to learn something, and you don't want to put your family in debt. So what if you just just learning what Natasha was just saying, how that 200, yeah, that's a sign of swing. But also it's something that you can, after, like she said, 2 years, that if you in a financial problem, you could probably go in there and get a little bit out to help you out in the situation. So you got to look at certain things or what you're doing, just have research on it.
Well, the crazy thing is, with all that being said, I remember like my grandfather kept money in the mattress. And that is kind of crazy because he had insurance. He had life insurance. So he didn't trust the banks, but he trusted the insurance company with his money. So I think, for us, we're looking at a situation where we might feel like that insurance is a scam. And I talked about this earlier, where you have different types of insurance. Medical in the United States is a little ridiculous when you talk about most companies and family policies. auto insurance constantly goes up, and it is a situation where you may never use it, depending on what happens when you're driving your vehicle. But then you have life insurance, and as the push and producer talked about, whole life insurance, and we've been discussing the importance of insurance as far as making sure that when you pass away, that you're not a financial burden on your family or your beneficiaries, being able to access your different accounts, or even making sure that you have a policy in place so generations after you're gone have some type of financial wealth. It's important. It's important. And we talk about how we want to better our community and financially, uh, you know, set financial gains in place for our community, but we're not taking advantage of some of these things. And I just look at it and say we have to do our due diligence, um, and study more about these things, and communicate with the younger generation about it to make sure that they know what they need to do to make sure that they're in a good space with insurance.
I agree. I would like to piggyback off of what you just said. And maybe this is for the next show. Is basically putting our
Oh, we thinking about the next show. Look,
putting our family in a position where they're more financially sound. And one thing that I feel like we can discuss is a trust, right? We in the black communities, and I don't have the statistics right offhand. I will definitely do it by the next show. How many black families actually have a trust? Do they know what a trust is, right? And what protections a trust have? So a trust, and this is another thing that white people typically do, or other cultures, is they put their savings, property, any land, all of the jewelry, all of these things goes into a living trust, that can't be touched, can't be sold. So that's how generational wealth is created. But we'll talk about that on the next show. I promise I'll provide more.
She trying to plug the next show, y'all. Y'all
Yeah,
see that?
But it is good. It's something that we need to be doing. If you own 1 acre of land, right, put it in a trust, because your kids won't be able to sell it, and it will stay there for generations. A lot of the elders, like I have a grandmother that's 90 years old. She owns her own house. It was built from scratch. Her and my grandfather had it built. She doesn't have it in a living trust. It should go in a living trust so it can be heirs' property. That means it can never be sold. And as they develop in her area, which they are doing, and they're building 400,000 to $1 million homes around her, that's one property that will continuously have money and stay in the family, and you can borrow from it, right? Because you can borrow from it. That's another asset. But like I said, we can talk about that next show.
So you mean to tell me I can put my $30 in the trust?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. You never said that.
We'll talk about that next show.
Yeah, this is this is something that that's needed, because it's about building a financial legacy, as well as your legacy and what you leave to your family or your kids, something that's going to have them be set or stable for the time that you're not here. Because if you are the primary breadwinner, or if you know what I'm saying, you leave a spouse that is having to supplement you for your income, and that's going to be something that they'll be able to sustain them for the time being, or how, or whatever you left behind will be able to position them to be in a place where they can be comfortable, or they can still go on knowing that you left them just enough or enough to survive or to make it or to be sustained in their way of living currently or when you pass.
True.
That is true. That's true. Well, we did a great job of breaking down the insurance. I know I got a little passionate, went on a little rant, y'all. I do apologize for that. But if you can buy some Jordans, you need to get you some insurance.
If you can buy that yak,
you need to
get some insurance.
If you can get them lashes, you need to get you some insurance.
If you can take care of them feet,
you need to get some insurance. If you can get them 26s, guess what? You need to get you some insurance.
If you can buy that Louis,
you need to get you some insurance.
But
anyway, you know what, Shada, you gonna bless them with your
See, I knew we was gonna go through this. The man face one ain't up here. I mean, I'll try to show it as best as I can from my phone, but y'all, boy, I tell you.
Hey, man. Hey, the likeness is real, man. The likeness is real. It's all good.
Y'all want me to look like. See how they do me? They do me grimy.
Oh man. If that ain't shine, I don't know what is, man.
Let me see something. Hold on. I do.
I
guess I do me.
I emailed it to you, so you can put it. It's emailed if you want to go to your email.
Turn your light up a little bit. Your phone went dark a little bit.
Hey Raymond, check your email.
Hit your screen, yeah. Hit your screen, man.
Check your emails on the computer, man.
He got it right there. We good.
Oh, okay. I can't see.
Shut up, bro.
Man.
Shut up, bro.
I see it.
See how they do me?
I want to say he could have put it on
it.
I emailed it. He could open it up on the email.
They grimy. See how they do me? They don't love me.
He could open a good picture up
They
on the
don't
email. He did.
They don't love me. They do me grimy.
Hey, the likeness is real. But once again, I appreciate y'all for joining the podcast. Hopefully you got something out of this show. It was a great discussion today, people. And y'all met the Puss and Producer. With that being said, you know what it is. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Get established.
Please join us on all our social media platforms. YouTube, of course. Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, TikTok. You know what it is, like my brother said. Just join us, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, keep the conversation going, within the chats in the video. All right? So with that said, for the fellas and our pushing producer, peace.